Hello and welcome back to another episode of LMS Cast. I'm joined by a special guest and a good friend. His name is Dale Berkebile. He is over at Brandwise. The website is getbrandwise.com. Welcome to the show, Dale.
Well, thanks for having me, Chris.
I'm excited to jam out with you today, particularly around building LMS websites for clients and your journey, your story. It's going to be a fun episode. And by the way, we did an older episode with Dale where he did a guided meditation. First time on the LMS Cast podcast. We did that. It's really cool. So go search the LMS Cast website for the past episode we did with Dale. But I wanted to start us here, Dale. You're one of the reasons I love hanging out with you is you're very purpose driven. You have a vision, you know the world you want to live in and the world you want to create. For you out there listening, Dale, what's your purpose?
All right. Well, thanks for having me on again, and give me a shout out to the previous episode. I appreciate that. So my purpose is to challenge people to become innovative leaders so that we can change the world together. And
let's unpack that.
What's that?
Let's unpack that.
Okay. So I think it's leaders that change the world, and so part of what I do is help people become innovative leaders, that people that are maybe cutting edge or doing things a little bit different. And I think there's a whole lot of leadership out there that is sketchy. Maybe they could use some leadership support or direction or purpose potentially. And I was in business probably about 15 years or so when I kind of clearly defined that purpose and why I'm doing what I'm doing and what I want to be doing. And it was to beyond the marketing and all the stuff that I was doing, helping businesses grow, actually help businesses make an impact out in the world as well. So that's where I get really excited. If you're looking to make an impact and you want to do all this stuff, that gets exciting. So
tell us more about how you found that clarity.
Oh gosh, that was a journey. You hear about creating mission statements, vision statements, all that kind of stuff, and creating your why. It sort of came from Simon Sinek. Sort of inspired me a little bit with his Start With Why, and it was something that I wanted to do for my business to gain more clarity, more focus, maybe attract more of the right people, and also refine the marketing that I was doing and whatnot. So yeah, so the right people could maybe find me or instantly scare away people that have no interest in doing what I want, what I'm doing. So that's a good thing too. We don't want prospects or clients that are not going to be a good fit. So I think I was probably went on that journey trying to define that for probably, I don't know, about 5 years. I put something out and I'm like, sort of, and then, kind of worked it and put something else out, worked it, put something else out until I finally got to something that encompassed what works well for my business, my personal life, and everything I do. So it's kind of the North Star that I, set my compass for, and that's where I'm going.
So Dale is a member of the Lifter LMS Experts Program. He's built a lot of Lifter LMS sites for clients. One of the things that I love about you is that you are also like a course creator, a coach, a community builder. How did you find your calling to, kind of use those tools, creating courses and creating communities and growing those things? How did you get into this scene?
Well, so I did a whole lot of marketing for my own business. I kind of eat the dog food, so to speak. I'm telling clients all day long, you have to do this kind of marketing, that kind of marketing, you have to get these kind of results, whatever. And I'm like, well, I got to be doing this stuff. And so I was looking for a way to offer a lot of value to my prospects. First off, to get to know me a little bit better, to experience something, and then a lot of value to my customers, even on a smaller scale, that can sort of get into the game a little bit, get a feel for what I do, and also offer some scalability for my own business, so that um, I didn't have to be billing per hour. I was able to create something that was out there working by itself and making some money. So that was kind of the initial reason that I got into the game. And I worked with, you know, different LMSs over the time as I was trying to figure out my way and how to even build courses and all that stuff. And so, gosh, I probably started trying to think when I started, probably like 2010 or 11 or something like that is when I first built my first course. And I was creating ebooks and different things like that as a way to educate people. But I love the idea of creating a more user experience, kind of connecting with me, even if I'm not there. If they have a video of me, they can sort of uh, connect with who I am and either like or dislike me, again, making it easier to further the relationship or cut things short quick, which is a good thing. So yeah, and then I found Lifter, and this is the platform for me. And I do think, again, it goes back to the why do I do online courses? Because I believe in it. I do it for brand wise, and I do it for my other stuff because you can really make a difference. And there's some of the impact I'm trying to make is online education.
Why'd you choose Lifter LMS?
Uh, well, honestly, I think I saw you on some videos ages ago, and you just seem like a good guy and knowledgeable, right? And I think I tried a couple different platforms, and they had like all these great things. It sounded miraculous and whatever. And then I was just in over my head, and it was costing me a fortune and whatnot. And I'm trying to think of Lifter, I think I started at the original, I guess the smaller level. I don't know if I did the free version first. I think I started at the beginner. What's the
You probably came in on the Universe bundle. Yeah.
universe funnel? Yeah, I think, or maybe actually maybe I did come on the free version, and I bought the Stripe whatever to just feel my way out and see if I could get it working. And once I started doing some stuff, yeah, it just felt really good because it was on WordPress. It was, I already knew WordPress and things like that. So it was kind of easy to do what I needed to do. Um, and I think I knocked out a course pretty quickly. And so I was like, okay, yeah, let's see what we can do.
Do you remember what year you first loaded up WordPress on a website?
Oh, geez. I would say that was probably around 2009, I think. I would guess, if, I don't know for sure, but I think that's about right.
Yeah, that's awesome. You have deep history, and I mean that's about my story. Like 2008, I got into WordPress,
Mm.
started making courses in 2011-ish, and so we've been on the journey together for a while. Um, what in your client work, what is your like perfect fit client? What are they like?
Oh, well, really, so there's a couple different types of clients that I can work with, but my ideal customer would be someone that is has either bought into Lifter LMS or trust me that, we're going to use the best tools out there, right? And they don't question it. This is where we're going. We're going to do it. And then next want to, either want to build something that they can, sort of manage the back end stuff a little bit at a new course or edit courses or something like that, but not really uh, too into the back end and messing around too much. But want ongoing support and including marketing to fill the classes, because that's one of the things that with any website, I think sometimes people think, it's a field of dreams. And just because in their mind, the idea is brilliant, you build it and they will come is sort of not really the case. You got to do some work to fill the class. You got to do some work to get found, all that kind of stuff. But, it's amazing when you get there. And so someone that's willing to commit that online courses is where they want to be and what they want to do. And they're going to do ongoing courses and they're going to do marketing to support it.
Yeah. I love that, because a lot of this is one of the things that makes you really special in the space is some people who provide services are just like technical implementation or even customization, like adding functionality that doesn't exist. But then there's the whole thing of like, well, you need marketing too, and you can do both. And
Right.
that's and you need both, right? And when both hands are connected to the same body, it tends to go a little better.
Right.
I remember one of my first clients who became the first. Well, so the way Lifter was born is I was involved in the Infusionsoft community, which is a lot of
Okay.
marketing automation and stuff.
Right.
And these people needed LMSs. So this is back in 2012 period. And, we were piecing all these different things together. WordPress didn't have a great solution. So we built it. And that's kind of where Lifter was born out of. But sometimes like in that kind of Infusionsoft era, the marketing automation space was being born. They might have even coined that term, possibly. But what ended up happening is a certain type of person, and I'm this type of person, and so are you, would start visualizing all these like funnels and flows, and if they do this, do this. Infusionsoft had like this thing called a decision diamond, and like you could create all this like marketing automation combination of emails, web pages, forms, all these different things. But it takes a while to get like really good at that. And at the end of the day, you realize like, oh, well, maybe I should just keep it simple and still do all those stages of the customer journey, but not overcomplicate it. And I think sometimes with clients, they get really focused on like this one piece or this one strategy they heard about or this one tool. But like part of it, and I've seen you do this well, is advising people to be like, let's focus. Do you have your first course ready? Do you have your content ready? Do you have an interest list? Are you using community, which is like a thing that's only becoming more and more important, especially in an AI automated world? But tell us how you think about marketing and creating information products, and kind of take us through the whole customer journey that you advise your clients to do to have the highest odds of success, and you can help them with that.
Yeah. Well, I guess it depends on how established people are, where they're at, and that sort of thing. But I mean, ideally, I've gone through the automation, world too, probably right around the time when I started getting into WordPress. 2009 is when I really started getting heavy into that. And some of it is defining the buyer persona, the avatar, the person, right? Like who are we going after? Do you know that? And it's funny, and I've been guilty of this myself in different areas. how few businesses have a clear, focus on who they're going to go after. So they just are going to go after everyone. And and I've been guilty of this myself, but the issue with that is then, it's very difficult to get what you need. And so clearly understanding who we're going after, fleshing out what their problems are and how you solve them, or how people talk about them and that sort of thing helps you um, know the first steps of marketing that you need to do. Where are these people hanging out? Right. Like, so, are they online in communities, Facebook or LinkedIn or different places? And how do you get there, and how do you entice them and attract them and different things like that? I mean, I've come from the, I used to do a lot of direct mail back in the day. And so, at that point we would create a list and we would know who we're going after and what the problem is. And then we would send out offers and different things like that. Well, over the years, it just sort of moved to kind of online. So it could be, connecting with someone else's audience. And that could be through, different avenues, or it could be building your own audience. Do you have an email list? Do you have a group that you manage, or a thought leader in that sort of thing? And so how can we reach them? Or do we just blog like crazy, put some content out, build an email list, do some email and different things like that? I think it depends on the client and their specific needs, but overall, we need to define who we're going after, what the problem is, how you solve it, and where do these people hang out, and start being there, and building relationships and rapport, building trust, right? Because no one does anything unless they know, like, and trust you. So we got to be there doing that, whatever that looks like. And so it could be email marketing, it could be direct mail back in the day, or just showing up and engaging in a community, if it's a Facebook group or something like that.
Speaking of community, I've seen you do a lot of great community work. I've seen you build your own communities. I've seen you get involved in other communities that you feel called to, and also do partnerships and find clients in there. I know you've done a lot, like in the yoga and meditation space. What do you see is the right way? I'll put that in quotes, the right way to do community these days. And ultimately, if it's for you or you're helping a client do it, how does somebody build like a real sustainable community, both for kind of lead generation, but also having a nice experience as possibly a community as part of the course or coaching program?
Right. For me personally, I'm passionate about the community piece of, of online learning. I think that I do a lot of online education myself. So I go through all kinds of courses in all kinds of areas that I'm interested in and things like that. And so I join communities and see all kinds of different communities that are done well or done poorly. And I can tell you that the learning that I do when I go through a course that has really good content, um, is connecting with others that are going through similar experience, right? So we can share, like, what the heck is going on, or, hey, I'm having problems with the course. Like, can anyone tell me, how to find blah, 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 whatever, And so to me, I would almost, I would highly recommend that people find a way to add a community as part of their online education experience, because people are, um, I don't know, we're what's the word I'm looking for? Just like people that connect, right? Like, there's something about humanity that wants to connect. And so creating a community that allows you to connect and share your experience, and, you can be in there sharing, like, you can be the person offering the advice, like, oh, here, go here and this, whatever, or try this, and give some advice if you're further along. Or if you're the newbie, you come in, and if you ask questions and whatnot, you can get a whole lot out of it. So, it's funny. I have some different programs that I'm going through now where the community is like a huge piece of the gold, as far as I'm concerned, because you connect with a lot of people, people that are at your level, and you can learn a lot, not just from the expert that's, teaching you, but from the users that are in the trenches going through the stuff. So I don't know if that answered the question or whatnot, but I do think building a course is important, and there's a whole lot of value that you can get from it, from a user experience, but then from an educator, right? From the person who's doing the education, the teacher, the instructor, the coach, whatever. Man, you can build some relationships. Like, you just set yourself up for success, and you get closer to the person. And then, if it's a solid program, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. It's a really great way to build customer loyalty. And at the end of the day, we want people that are going to stick around. And so, you don't get any better than, weekly showing up and doing something that offers value, and then sharing some things throughout the week that shares value, or having a team that's there to support the people in need and ask questions and whatever. I get super fired up when, as a user, if the coach or the trainer or whatever has great content, and then they have a course that's amazing, and they have a team that's supporting, there's one that I'm in now where the team is really amazing, and they support, and it's interesting seeing that. It's kind of, there's groups that work and groups that don't, and the ones that don't add a whole lot of value to the overall learning experience. But the ones that do, man, it's just, out of this world. So, so I don't know. Hopefully that answered the question or helped.
Oh, that's very cool. Related to that, one of the things that makes you special is as an online community builder and participant in communities is that you seem to have like a good relationship with technology and balance and stuff. So, for example, you remain positive. There's a lot of like buzz on the internet about people are saying like, "Oh, I'm quitting Facebook. I'm quitting Instagram." You, on the other hand, like sometimes when I post stuff in like one of our Facebook groups, I really appreciate it when you take a second to hit the like button or drop a comment. You're just like an engaged participant, and you help people. Like if you have the answer to something, you kind of you chime in. And in some of the communities that you've built, I've seen you're very comfortable. You're doing things like live streaming meditation together. And I think I even saw one where you were in the shower. No, you weren't you were clothed and everything, but or yeah, it wasn't like that, but you're just very comfortable on social media. And a lot of people are overwhelmed and kind of have like either imposter syndrome or just fear, a lot of fear, or just a negative relationship with Facebook as an example. How do you and I'm sure it's not perfect. Like, sometimes I spend too much time on social media and stuff like that. But how do you, for such a long period of time, stay positive, create value, be yourself, remain engaged?
Well, so I love that question. I mean, you asked kind of this is a multi-tier question to
Yeah.
some degree, but let me just start with the people look at Facebook as, whatever, I'm getting off Facebook and stuff like that. And and you have to do what you have to do, right? And I think work life balance is really important. And so if Facebook is dragging you down, or whatever your platform is, I use Facebook quite a bit, so I say Facebook often. um if it's dragging you down, then yeah, we got to set boundaries and things like that, so that we can have that work life balance or success in our life, or not go into anxiety mode or depression or all that kind of stuff. And there's all kinds of negativity and divisiveness out in the world, and political stuff and all kinds of stuff, right? That can be very ugly. And so I understand when sometimes people want to will say that Facebook or social media or whatever is a mess. And I'm like, in my life, I kind of believe that you can either be part of the mess or you can work to fix it. And so, I kind of am a believer that be the change you want to see in the world. And so instead of showing up like, a jerk on Facebook, or getting into like, ugly banter back and forth, show up in a positive way, just like, I don't know. Probably about hmm, I don't know, 11 years ago or something like that, I struggled with depression and different things like that. And as I was creating my purpose, I wanted to change the world in some way. I'm like, I'm going to change the world. So I just started showing up and do post positive stuff and whatever. I'm like, I don't know, someone might need to hear this and whatever. Everyone else, they will scroll over it and it won't mean anything. Pretty cool. A person who is offering value, because again, I'm looking to be the person I want. What am I looking for when I get in there? When I join a group, I start, it's funny, Facebook has these ratings now, like, how top performers or top whatever. If I'm in a good group, I start plowing through the scoreboard of sorts, because I get engaged and I start, sharing and asking questions and doing whatever, because I want to be an active member. And that's where the real value is. That's where the value, it's a lot of value for you as the student, but it's a ton of value also for the owner of the group, because you're asking valuable questions and or ideas that I had in one of the groups that I'm in. I shared something and I'm like, this would be awesome. And then like 2 weeks later, the owner of the educator or whatever is like, hey, we're gonna try. And I'm like, oh, hey, I knew where that idea came from. And so um I think for me, it's just showing up in a positive way, and what do I want out of the community, and be the person that I would want in my own communities, right? And so, like, I have to be it before I can expect a bunch of people to come into my own community and be that person, model the behavior, I guess, to some degree. So, yeah,
That's
hope
awesome.
that hope that helps.
I know a part of you, I mean, in addition to being an excellent web designer and course creator coach yourself, um, you seem to find some balance from meditation, yoga, painting, art. How do those things play into your life and work?
Oh, well, I think for meditation was one of the things that helped me get out of the depression that I was in. And so, once I went down that path and I said, holy crap, man, this is really helpful to me. I wish I knew this before. I feel a little bit obligated to help others with it, right? Yoga was something I added not too long ago. I started doing yoga a little bit, And it was partially to add, an exercise sort of program to my life, because again, I was trying to like balance out all these different areas to live, the best life, the most healthy life, that sort of thing, the hella good life. um, and so anyhow, that was something to get me active, because sitting behind a computer all the time, you're not always active, depending on what you do. And I wasn't as active as I wanted to be, so I added that as part of the mix, and then I really dove into that community. And art, I've always been creative, and for about a year, I was like kicking around, getting back into, doing some painting. I hadn't done painting for 30 years since I was in college, and very little at that. And I was like, this might be something that's kind of fun. So it was a curiosity thing, kind of. But I was, hesitant. I kind of kicked it around for a year, and I'm like, oh man, I gotta buy supplies, and what if I suck, and all this kind of stuff. We get hung up on all this kind of head trash. And then I was just like, screw it, pulled the trigger and started painting. And I've been painting really consistently since October, and knocked out, I don't know how many paintings, quite a few paintings. And what I found was, after a few months of doing that, I'm standing there and I'm looking at one of my paintings. I'm like, man, this brings a lot of joy. This makes me really happy. And so I'm like, that is awesome, right? That's what we need to find, is things that just bring joy without any sort of, I don't know, goals or expectations, or, whatever else. When it comes to work-life balance, we got to tap into some of those things that just fill the cup, so to speak. And yeah, painting's certainly done that for me. But I've always been creative, and I see, creating courses and websites and all the marketing, all that stuff is creative as well. So, but this is kind of a more pure creativity without any purpose necessarily. I'm not intentionally trying to sell or whatever. I just started doing it for fun.
You're also a husband and a father. And what are your, I guess, tips based on your lived experience with the craziness of entrepreneurship and being a creative person, and, um, you know, including family and the work-life balance? Like, I see you doing cool stuff with your family on social media and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
what are some ideas or approaches you have to family?
Um, yeah, so, that can be challenging, I think. I think on some level, you just make time for it, and you commit to, just like you would commit to meeting, with a client or whatever, you commit to, time with family and stuff like that. And sometimes it's easier said than done. I mean, like, there are times where I'm working on the computer and sitting in the living room or whatever, and we're sort of together, but I am certainly working. There are times when I'm on Facebook and I'm doing some different things, and, I'm there with family. And so, so I'm not really there with family too. Right. But then, like yesterday, my son's birthday was, on, Wednesday. And yesterday we went to, my wife set up a, swim party or whatever. So he had a bunch of friends over, and I just, took the day off, and we went and did this big swim birthday party thing and stuff. And, that stuff is important. I think at the end of the day, connection with family and all that stuff is as important, maybe more important than all the business stuff. So, making time for it and doing the best you can. I have 2 kids, and, I've been trying to make group time and one-on-one time. And, if you're doing all that stuff, making time for the wife, making time for each one of the kids, making time for the whole family, that stuff can add up quick too. And then it can go to overwhelm and burnout with work and art and like all that stuff. I think sometimes finding ways to incorporate different things together can help. Like, so for the art stuff, we did a kind of a little paint party together a couple 2 weeks ago, I think, and that was like great quality time together. And we were doing something that I love and something that the family had a whole lot of fun with. So finding those overlaps where everyone is having fun, or whatever. My son so here's a funny one recently too. My son wanted to have a game night, so I'm picking him up after school or whatever. He's like, can we have a game night, whatever? And I'm like, no, we had this, our coffee table was kind of had all this stuff on it, and it was like the kids' toys and all kinds of stuff. I'm like, we got to clean this stuff up. We can't have a game night or whatever, family night or whatever. And he's like, okay, well, if I clean this stuff up, I'm like, okay, get at it. And so sure enough, both of my boys went in and they started cleaning up and stuff like that because they had a goal and they wanted to do stuff. So I think, I don't know that was really my, it just kind of fell into my lap a little bit, but having them fired up so that we can do fun stuff as a family, wanting to do fun stuff, maybe, trying to set the tone for that. I don't know that I have great wisdom there, but try.
Awesome. Well, let's talk a little bit more about your agency Brandwise.
Okay.
What kind of things do you do for clients? You mentioned marketing, website, LMS building, but what are some of the details within all of that?
Okay.
Like, what's on offer at Brandwise? And that's, by the way, that's at getbrandwise.com.
Right. Yeah. So, I started out in the design space. So, doing any kind of graphic design, whatever. But what I found was I wanted to evolve and get more into the branding side of things, because what I found was to get results in the marketing, we had to do things. We had to keep doing things. We had to stay out there in front of people and things like that. So the design is really the core, and where I'm, I think, a lot different than a whole lot of people. But then over the years, so it's been, in April, it was 25 years. What I found was getting results is important. So I'm looking for how I can help scale businesses, right? Like what I ran into in my own business was I wanted to scale it. I wanted to get to the point where I had employees. I wanted to do all these different things. And some of that took scalability. And so building things that were getting results. And that's part of the reason I was doing direct mail. And then I moved to the marketing automation, because we could do that through SEO and different things like that. But it's all about getting found and then making offers that get results. And so beyond just the beauty of building the brand, if we can build a system that goes from start to finish and gets people, gets the cash register ringing, and also, the customers happy and getting results, because they need to get results too. Because if we're not doing it for them to get results, then our results don't really stick around that much. So, and that's one of the things that I love about, online learning is it's a great way to connect with people. It's a great way to build that customer loyalty. It's a great way to service people in an amazing way. And build a relationship over time, instead of a lot of one-off stuff that was what I used to do in the past. So, yeah.
One of the biggest challenges with working with LMS website clients can be, it is true for all web design actually, is getting the content from the client is quite a challenge, even if it's just text for the about page, or if somebody has a dream of making millions teaching online through courses and coaching programs. I've seen you have an extremely high output of videos, live videos, writing, social media posting. What do you think is the secret to your hold on one second, Dale, I'll edit this out. I got somebody at the door.
Okay.
One sec. Apologies, Dale, and to
Oh,
the
no worries.
live streamers watching. I was not being a good husband. My wife reminded me that somebody was coming to the house to do something, and I totally forgot about it. So,
Okay.
um,
Do we need to wind it up?
uh, in a little bit, we can kind of finish it up. Um, awesome. Let me just think about where my entry is coming back in here. When I'm doing a podcast, the whole world disappears, and I'm just here. And so it's one of my superpowers. But somebody broke the bubble today. Um, when we were talking about brand wise and what you do, um,
I think you were asking about putting out different content or something, videos and live videos and social media posts or something. I don't know where you're going with that, but maybe is that
I was just looking for yeah. Let's just restart there.
okay?
So, what are your tips for just being a prolific content creator? Because sometimes getting that first course or a lead magnet, whether it's a PDF or a free mini course out, sometimes clients have trouble kind of getting the gears turning on getting the content together. What would you advise?
Yeah. Well, so I mean, for me, I think that you have to see the value in it, right? Like if you're not committed to it, that's where I was saying earlier about commitment to things. Like if you're not committed to blogging or, giving it a fair run, um, blogging for a year, and usually I recommend twice a week and, whatever, 2 articles a week, and then pushing it out on social and doing all these different things. Like it's some work, it's a commitment. And, if you're not willing to do it, then maybe you find another avenue. I don't know what to tell you, but what I do know is, if you want a great community, then you have to be out there. If you want to make some real money with the courses or whatever offerings that you do, you have to be out there. So how do you get out there? And it's doing videos is good, doing live is good. Different things like that are a great way for people to see you know the real person, I guess, behind the brand. In the old days, we used to network at chambers and different things like that to be out in the front of, connect with people. But we sort of hid behind the brand, right? Like we would put up you know, whatever we did. And, I did some work before, before the internet. So, we would, create logos and business cards and marketing materials and stuff like that. And the company, the real people would hide behind this brand that we make. Now we're able to connect. And so the videos, I think, are an awesome way to do that. But at the end of the day, we still need to be out there, however we're doing it. And so I think it's just being committed to it. And at the end of the day, it's committed to yourself, right? Your own company, because if you want success, you got to be out there doing it. So
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. It's a commitment. I knew when I started a Facebook group, I was in there every day. And that's been almost a decade now.
yeah,
And I knew what I was committing to.
right. Yeah, and your
Um,
Facebook group is awesome.
yeah.
It's huge now. It's awesome been seeing it grow.
Yeah. I think it's around 9,000 people, and I'm the biggest one. And I'm like, people ask me, how'd you do that? I'm like, I showed up every day for 9 years.
Right. Show up.
Um, and with a helping mindset.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, giving value.
That's Dale from Brandwise. Go to getbrandwise.com. In the spirit of community, how else can people connect with you, Dale?
So you can find me on Facebook. That's where I'm fairly active. You can I run Hella Good Life is another company that I run. You can find me on Facebook for Brandwise and for Hella Good Life on Twitter. But really, Facebook is where I'm active. So you can find me on LinkedIn, searching for my name, or Brandwise, or I don't know about Hella Good Life, maybe. But yeah, so if you want to interact and engage, you can find me on Facebook. That's usually the best way to do a search for my name.
Awesome. That's Dale Berkebile from getbrandwise.com. And just as the final words of this episode, could you say your purpose statement again?
Okay, so my purpose is to challenge people to become innovative leaders so that we can change